Hello everyone, very good evening. Welcome to the BISP Solutions. My name is Anjali Singh and today we will be continue with our financial planning under the Enterprise Planning and Budgeting Cloud Services. So let's get started and let's take a recap of whatever we have completed in the financial planning till now. So initially we have completed the financial planning module, like how we can do this planning under the EPBCS application, and we have understand like what is the meaning of financial planning and how we can implement that in the organization. The UI walkthrough is completed. Then purpose and dimensionality we have discussed. Then after that we created a story to make everyone understand like what are the drivers in the financial planning and how we can use those drivers to calculate the revenue and expenses. And we have enabled configured the financial module for the expense, revenue, balance sheet, cash flow analysis. Then drivers and assumptions. In the yesterday's session we have discussed about the drivers and assumptions. Today also we will understand that in a detailed manner, and we are already aware like how we can set the user variables, user preferences, how we can load the historical data to the application. On that basis we can do the planning further, right? Because planning can always be done on the actual data, historical data we have. So let's get started about the drivers. In the yesterday's session I have already covered the revenue drivers, but today I'm gonna repeat that so that we can understand how we can check that with the help of smart view, right? So let me share my screen for that. So basically if talking about the drivers, so as maybe you understand why we are using that. If you ever tried and failed to implement rolling forecast in your organization, poor driver or poor assumption construction might have been to blame. Because if the drivers and assumptions are not that much accurate, so how you can calculate the exact results for your revenue or expense or whatever you are calculating. So basically the driver and assumptions should be appropriate. That's why the very effective driver based planning starts with understanding the difference between drivers and assumptions. So basically what is the driver based planning? Driver based planning or driver based forecasting, we can say it is a process for understanding business performance based on particular value drivers that are most important to an organization. Because every organization is having several drivers, several assumptions they are using for forecasting. On that basis they are planning for their future, they are budgeting, they are gathering the cash or further things for the future benefits. So building financial models around these value drivers keeps all strategic budgeting and planning processes focused on answering two main questions. Number one is how are we going to grow as a business, and number two is how is that going to produce desired results. Okay, so basically if I tell you what is a driver plan, so driver based planning is a framework used to plan business performance based on a hierarchy of company specific value drivers. Because every company is having different kind of drivers. Not every company or organization or industry can have the same drivers, right? Because we let's talk about our example. We are talking about the hospital management, or we are calculating for the healthcare sector, so the drivers are almost different for calculation purpose. So that is why driver based planning is a framework used to plan business performance based on a hierarchy of company specific value drivers derived from strategic objectives. It replaces the traditional bottom up planning approach and enables companies to plan and analyze performance in a smarter way. Okay, if talking about my example, so let's discuss for that also. This is a hospital for which we are calculating the revenue and expenses. So in the yesterday we have covered for revenue drivers, like if talking about the hospital revenue, so how much drivers it consists of. So there are consultation fee, number of patients we have, then average time per patient is 1 hour we have taken, and consultation time more than 1 hour. Then normal surgery fee is different, complicated surgery fee is different, number of surgeries are different, and number of tests are different. Let's check this. What I have created the member formula. This is when I have to calculate the total revenue from doctors, that is consultation fee. Normal revenue will be calculated on that basis. Simply the consultation fee will be multiplied with the number of patients we have, and 500 is the fixed amount of fees. Okay, but we have added a condition that if doctor consults more than 1 hour, then his fees will be automatically increased to 800. From 500 to 800 will be charged per patient. Normal time will be 1 hour. Okay, so you can see I have written this formula: consultation fee multiplied by average time per patient, that is 1 hour, multiplied by number of patients. And if it becomes more than 1 hour, let me highlight this. And if the patient will consult for more than 1 hour, so my consultation fee will increase to 800, right? Let me highlight this also, so that you can easily understand what I have created to calculate for calculation purpose. So in that case, consultation fee multiplied by consultation time more than 1 hour. Here I have used average time per patient for 1 hour, and when the situation change, then the formula will also change, drivers will change. Consultation fee will be multiplied by consultation time more than 1 hour multiplied by number of patients. Okay, so this is exactly what we are implementing in our application, and I will show you how it works on the smart view, because yesterday my smart view was not working, but I will try it now. Maybe it works, otherwise I'll try to show you how you can do the data validation. And here are some products I have taken. My hospital sold some products, antibiotics, injections and painkillers. For that I have created these drivers, that is antibiotics volume multiplied by antibiotics price. So this will be the rate total product revenue from antibiotics. Then similarly injection volume multiplied by injection price. That will be the injection revenue. And third one is painkiller volume multiplied by painkiller rates. So that will be the revenue generating from the painkillers. So this is a way how we can calculate the product revenue, and this is a way how we can calculate the service revenue. Okay, moving to our next thing, that is the expense planning. Basically, what exactly the meaning is driver based planning? We can say driver based modeling is an approach to financial planning and analysis. What we can in a short form we are saying FP&A. So that is normally focused on identifying an organization's key business and value drivers, right? And then creating business plans and budgets based on these key drivers. That is why it is very important to take it very right drivers for calculation purpose, because finance can't afford to plan the business based solely on historical data. If someone will tell me this is my historical data, now you start doing planning, so that is not straight possible. First I have to identify my drivers, right? I have to understand on what is the basis on which I want to calculate my revenue. If there are some multiple drivers are added to my business for the revenue and expenses, so I have to take that also. Okay, apart from that, what I was telling, that finance can't afford to plan the business based solely on historical data and gut feelings, right? We all know this. A driver based approach to planning, forecasting and budgeting can make finance more agile, but only if you can build models where drivers and assumptions work together. Okay, for example, I'll show you what I want to say. If you know you need to hit 90% gross retention to meet the plan, and you only have 50 customers. Okay, we have 50 customers, and what we want, 90% gross retention to meet the plan. So in that case, then we can only stand to lose 5 customers for the forecast period, because I have to retain 90%, work with customer success to create a plan to stay within that plan. If I have 50 customers, so I can only lose 5 customers. Only at that time I can retain 90% retention. Okay, I can retain that. You could break down customers into green, yellow and red status. Okay, see how your customer base grades out. How many customers in the red, yellow, how many customers in the red and yellow would you need to pull into green in the next quarter to meet the plan? I just want to say that we have a red column, a yellow and a green. Okay, I just want to identify those customer whom I can retain, so that it becomes my coming under my green zone. That will be beneficial for me. So in that way we can like plan our things, right? Whose are those are in green, red and yellow. So this is the way how we can plan. This is a simple way I want to make you understand. How many customers in the red, how many customers in the yellow would you need to pull into the green, okay, in the next quarter or in the next month to meet the plan. These are the kinds of practical planning process you can run with a driver based approach to forecasting and budgeting. Let me show you one more diagram so that you will be understand it in a more clear way. How to build a driver based forecast in 3 steps. Okay, so there are 3 high level steps involved in building a driver based forecast that effectively links the drivers and assumptions to create business plans. The diagram below shows how the logic works out when you follow these steps. You can see this is my primary KPI. Here the revenue growth percentage is defined, and then you can see the key driver, that is a number of assumptions we have, and then model outputs, new bookings, total customers, revenue growth. So this is a total plan strategy we can build. My assumptions are also different: quota attainment, then rep attribution, then ramp rate. So things are almost different. Maybe this will getting difficult, so I'm back to my case, whatever we are gonna discuss for our story. So if talking about the expenses, so I have created my expenses drivers in this manner. Suppose for a hospital, the maintenance expenses will include cost per bed multiplied by number of patients. Okay, because there may be multiple patients, but one thing will be same, the cost per bed. Suppose in my hospital there is the cost per bed is 1000 in a day, and if I want to calculate revenue expense for one day, maintenance expenses for one day, so 1000 will be multiplied to number of patients, that is suppose 50 patients I have in my hospital in a one day, multiply by 1. So that will be the figure will be 1000 multiplied by 50 multiplied by 1. So 50,000 expenses the hospital have to incur in a day. Okay, similarly, if I have to calculate the doctor's salary, so not all doctors having the same salary, right? each doctor is having different kind of specialization, as I have shown you in my previous sheet. That is, few are the general practitioners, few are the neurologists, few are the orthopedics, then few are the gastroenterologists, then pediatrician. So different doctors are having different kind of salary. That is possible, right? So here, how can I calculate the number of doctors? Maybe I have 50 doctors in my hospital, or let's make it easy. Let's have a 12 doctors in my hospital specialist, multiply by number of hours of consultation. So their salary will be depend on the specialization and how much hours they are consulting to the patients. Suppose in a day, a doctor consult for 8 hours, or we can take it as 10 hours in a day, multiply by consultation fee per doctor. So suppose normally my consultation fee for each doctor would be 20,000. Just suppose, okay. So for a single doctor, it will be calculated as the number of doctors multiplied by number of hours of consultation, that is 10, multiplied by consultation fee per doctor. So if you want to know like how can you segregate the doctor's fee, so every doctor is getting different consultation fee. In this case I have taken 20,000. Maybe it is for the general practitioners, okay. And if talking about the orthopedics, so maybe the consultation fee will be 12 multiplied by 10 multiplied by 15,000. So his salary will be different from this. So in this way you can segregate things, and you can identify which doctor will get like for the hospital how much expense for particular specialist, right? So this is a way, or you can always take your drivers for make it more simpler, because we just don't want to complicate the things. We are just our main motive is to simplify the things for the users, right? So the next thing is number of units multiplied by rate per unit. For what? For electricity expenses. We are very much aware with this. Every hospital will eventually incur the electricity expenses, so it will depend on number of units multiplied by rate per unit. So suppose my number of units will be 2000 multiplied by rate per unit is again 500. So it becomes 10 lakh, okay. So in this way this will be calculated, or we can make it more simpler, 200 multiplied by 500. Let's calculate it here in the another column, so we will not confuse further. 200 units will be multiplied by 500 rate. So this is my electricity expenses. This is my doctor's salary, and this is what? Maintenance expenses. Okay, so this is the simple story for that. One more thing, in my data file I have added. So here I have created this expense data load file. If I don't want to use the drivers and I just want to directly feed my expenses to the application, so here already I have created that: salary expenses, transportation expenses, ambulance expenses, general and administration expenses, and research and development. But here we would like to understand about the drivers, expense drivers. So we will be taking these drivers and we'll try to calculate that. So let me quickly create this data file. there should be cost per bed and number of patients. Then we have number of doctors, then number of hours of consultation, consultation fees per doctor, number of surgeries and surgery fees per doctor. Or let's not take this because it will things will become complicated. Let's take only this, and one more we'll be adding, number of units and number of rate per unit for the electricity expenses. Now let me first add these drivers to my application. I have installed my backup to the instance with the same application on which we are working since yesterday. And go to the configure part, financials, this is my expense accounts. So you can see here are various categories. We have compensation, facilities expense, travel and entertainment expense, then marketing expense, total other expenses and total expenses. So let's take this total expense, and here again components, various components. We have operating expenses, total other expenses. If we have a metadata file, so we can directly upload that, not need to add from here, but we are just adding few, so I'm adding from configuration portion. So operating expenses, total other expenses, depreciation, amortization, other expenses. So let's take it in the operating expenses, and currently we have this much. You can see salaries, overtime, audit rate, audit fees and all. Let's check more. If talking about the compensation, so we are having this much. So I'll be adding the salary. This will be a category. Let's add directly number of doctors and number of hours of consultation. Let's make it balance or flow. Save, and then I'm adding further. consultation save. So this is my compensation I have to pay to the doctors. And also we can add number of staff. Salary per staff. Let's add this to our data file. Now cost per bed, number of patients. So this should be added in the facilities. Facilities expense drivers, add the amount will be average. So the time balance property will be average and the data type is non-currency. Number of patients in a day can be flow type. Number of patients, just a second. Message for this page are listed below. An object with the name member of patient, number of patients already exist. Okay, so I am changing the name here for number of patients using bed facility. Okay, because not all patients taking our bed facilities. Okay, not all the patients getting admitted in our hospital. So that is why I have created the another driver for that apart from the number of patients. In this way you can add the drivers. Now what left? Number of staff, salary per staff, it done. Electricity expenses, travel and entertainment, total other expenses. Total office expense, general office expense you can see here already added. Now number of units of electricity, number of electricity units, we can write electricity units for making understand without confusing. Save. And rate per unit, rate per unit. I I hope it should not be repeated because rate per unit is common over here. This can be average or this can be flow. Okay, so this is done with the drivers. Okay, now let's check once whether each and everything is added or not. This is done, and in the compensation we have added 4 drivers. Consultation fee per doctor remains. Under facilities we have added this, and number of staff are already done. Okay, it is by mistake written twice. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 drivers we have added over here. Now let's create a different file for this. In this way you can understand how we can create a data file. Okay, let me save this as another expense data file. It should be always in a CSV format. Okay, and here we can give the values. Cost per bed may be 500, and it can be changed month wise, but right now I'm taking it same value for all the months for not getting much confused. Yeah, this can be changed. Number of patients using beds, sometimes 20 patients can use the beds, sometimes 25, 11, 10. This can be different. Sometimes only 5 patients, 4 patients, 9 patients, 10, 12 or 11. Similarly, number of doctors should be same, and it can be changed on a month wise. So in my case I will be taking 20 doctors. 20 doctors we have currently, 5 in different specialization. The number of hours of consultation can be different. Some are working 10 hours, 12 hours, 8 hours. Some are only working for 5 hours, and we can make it a common number, 10 hours. So in this way we can identify things. Then doctor's fee, consultation fee per doctor generally same, but as I told you, it depends on the consultation time. So if the normally 1 hour is the consultation time, so it will be we have to add here the consultation time also, no? Number of hours of consultation. Yeah, this is the consultation time, so the amount will be depend on that. If this is 10, so it is 500. If this is 12, so 800. If more than 10, so it becomes 800. Let's make it 15. Okay, number of staff, maybe 15 staff we have in the another various kind of departments, and from June it becomes 20 till the December. And the salary per staff again may be different, but general salary which I am giving to my staff is 30,000. The number of electricity units, or we can make it 15,000. The staff salary should not be increased to doctors, right? The number of electricity units, sometimes 20 units used, sometimes 50 units used, 40 units. So it will be depending on the month. Every month this can be changed, right? 30 units, 35 units. Now from June maybe only 20 units were used. Rate per unit is again different. 400, 500, then 300. And you can see the POV I have used here. This is the actual data of financial year 23. On that basis we will be calculating the planning. Then working is the version, USD is the currency, operations US is the entity, OFS load is the plan type, then antibiotics is simply a product, and US market and pharmacy. Let's refresh the database first here. Let me check the POVs we have used here. Okay, we can take the same POVs. So I hope it is correct. Now let's try to upload this file into the application. Today I am just using the direct load data load method. If all the drivers are present without any errors, then there should not be any kind of error. Okay, there is an error from 11 to 18. There are no members from 11 to 18, so this error can be ignored because our records are 17 and processed 18. Only 8 are rejected which are not in our file, so we can ignore that. Now quickly move to financials. Let me quickly check that whether my variables are correct or not, because yesterday we have said that. Okay, again we have to set because due to some reason it has been removed. So here my total entity would be, these are my hospital entities, so I just send it of this. Let's take the whole entity here. Then scenario, I descendants, then version, I descendants of all the versions, then years, here I would like to, I'm not removing, let's take, all the expense planning descendants over here. Then okay, one more thing remained, we have to take those drivers as a shared member. Where are my drivers for form? Expense driver for forms already there. Okay, save it. Now quickly I am making it as a shared member. Select your cube account, go to planning expense. Here are the predefined drivers we have. Predefined expense accounts. Where are those drivers which we have added over here? Maybe under the total. Okay, these are the operating expenses, and under that we have created the things, new drivers. Under the total salaries, not again. Why it is not showing what we have added? Let's again refresh the database. Some problem is going behind this. Let me check again where I have added those. Yeah, it is showing over here as a compensation, facilities, travel, but why it is not showing over there? Compensation drivers. Okay, let me check once again. We have added that to the in the form of expense as well. doctor's salary, we have added the drivers but not added the expenses, that is why it is not showing over there. Under the total expenses, operating expenses, then um, electricity expenses, maintenance expenses, and electricity expenses. These are all coming under the operating expenses. For now, I'm just adding these only. Then staff salary we can add. Let's take all the things under the total expenses. Okay, firstly we have to remove that from here. Number of electricity units, rate per unit are already available here. We will be adding the further drivers once more in the total expenses, operating expenses. But it should be added in the drivers like this. And it is not removed, that I have to check. Okay, let's close this. Try to refresh the database again. it should be visible in the dimensions. So I'm checking that again. These are the expense drivers. Predefined expense drivers, common predefined compensation, travel and marketing facilities. So here those should be visible, which we have added, right? Total compensation. Electricity expense. Yeah, here it is. Doctor salary, maintenance expense, and staff salary is available in the operating expenses. But where are the drivers? Okay, here are the drivers. It is directly showing over here in the forms. Here it should be showing as in the form of shared. So simply I am cutting this from here and adding in the compensation. That should be visible over here in the compensation drivers. Okay, for now I'm adding here again. So we have to select expense driver for forms. Okay, now why we are taking shared, because whatever the activity is done on that particular member, when we make it as a shared member for any other uh, drivers, so it will be reflecting the value over there. So that is why we are taking that. Again refresh the database and let's check there in the financial planning module. So you can see this is my overview. When I'll be adding the things, so it will be overview from here, we can see. And from here we can select the drivers, expense drivers for forms. Okay, so whatever driver we have added, we can see head count, salary, car allowance, the number of hours of consultation, number of staff, salary. So we have to select it from here. And how it will gonna impact. So suppose this is my consultation fee per hour. If I want to increase it from 10%, so let's check what is happening over here. Okay, so there is one problem that I have to check. I will tell you about that in the next session. Today I just also want to show you about the revenue planning by connecting with the smart view, but the time is already completed, so no worries. In the tomorrow's session I will be completing all the things like the revenue planning which we have done yesterday. I'll be showing you by connecting with the smart view, and then we will again doing all these things in the expense planning, and after that we will try to cover the balance sheet planning and cash flow planning. Okay, in this way one by one we will try to complete things and understand. So for now I am just closing this session, and if you have any kind of doubts or queries, so you can write to our channel, that is BISP Solutions. So thank you so much guys for attending this session. Bye bye.